Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Magnificence Lab and Magnificence Monday. Wow, here we are, January 15, 2024. We're into the start of a new year, a new calendar year. And of course, every day can be a new start as you ponder how life is going to be for you and where you want to go from here. I'm in the lab today experimenting about ways to expand into my own magnificence, and of course, to support you and inspire you to expand into your magnificence. Because without a shadow of a doubt, I know you are and I am magnificent. We came here this way, we just forgot. So today, I've been pondering about resolution and revolution. So as soon as I was able to understand the concept of a New Year's resolution, then I, like many others for many years, would set my mind to, all right, what's going to be different in the new year? How am I going to proceed forward and make my life better or change things for the better or whatever? It was all about action. So I, like many of you, decided, oh, I better get more exercise. I better shed 10 pounds. I better all of that, with the idea that would be a really good thing to do. So I was determined, I was committed. And for the first 2, 3 weeks, maybe the whole month of January, I dedicate myself to eating soup and salad instead of sweets and French fries. I would go to the gym, I'd go to the pool, I would do all these things. And then something would happen somewhere around maybe mid-February, if I got that far. And I didn't seem to be that committed anymore. My resolution just kind of faded away into the background. What didn't fade away was my frustration about myself, that I couldn't follow through, that I didn't measure up to what I had said my resolution was going to be. So then I realized that maybe I needed something a little more substantial, something a little more focused than that. So the word revolution came to me. And I thought, well, I'm going to have a real revolution here. Well, what's that all about? The difference is it's a revolution of thinking. So if we imagine revolution in the sense of a bicycle wheel, for example, so as it goes around and around it, it makes a full circle, then that's one revolution. And then it goes around again, and that's the second revolution. So it's a cycle. And it's so interesting to me that lots of times we get trapped in our own revolutions of thinking. So we have this cycle that goes round and round and round, kind of like a record that won't stop playing. If you're from the LP days, well, it doesn't always serve us, because sometimes we get stuck in that pattern of thinking, or that going round and round and round. So the New Year's resolution idea is a perfect example of that. How many years did you start off resolved to do better, and then you fell off the turnip truck and realized, oh, it's too hard, or it takes too much effort, or I have other things I want to do. And then all you did was feel bad about yourself because you didn't live up to your own expectations. You didn't follow through on what it was you said you were going to do. Well, maybe it's time to change that cycle, to cycle back and question that line of thinking, that pattern, that what got you into that cycle in the first place, and start asking yourself questions such as, well, first of all, is my way of thinking really true? Is it true for me? Is it true that I'm a bad person because I didn't follow through on what I said I was going to do, especially in relation to my own self-care or whatever? Well, maybe. Is it true that because I have this extra weight or I'm not physically fit, that there's something wrong with me? Well, maybe, but maybe not. So, and of course, there's this thing about when we're mired in a problem, it's very difficult to find a solution. So it's important to get out of the problem, to step away from the idea of the problem and look at it from a different perspective. So to say, oh, well, what if I thought about this differently? And it relates to very much, it's an inner game. It's our thoughts manifest into action or inaction depending on what we choose. So it's not all about just action. It's about how we get into that in the first place. So when I think about it, for example, let me just, I've been wanting to shed, I haven't shed all my COVID pounds yet, like I could have, and I had a few extra pounds before then. And it bothers me. And so I look in the mirror and I'm kind of disgusted when I see myself because I don't see this body the way I used to see it and the way it used to be and the way I want it to be. Well, of course, there's the cycle starts, right? This cycle of negative thinking where I get upset with myself and angry with myself and I want to punish myself on the one hand, and then it leads into another cycle. Well, then I feel victimized and I feel sorry for myself and I feel powerless. And so these two cycles kind of run simultaneously and they're joined by a spoke that anchors that whole process so that every time I quotes fail at not shedding the pounds or eating too many sweets or not getting enough exercise and on, it gives me this opportunity to keep beating up on myself for not measuring up. Well, that's the wrong direction from magnificence, let me tell you. It doesn't make me feel good about myself. And so it's important then for me to think differently, to ask myself, is it really true that I'm less than because there's more of me? Is that really true? And, well, I don't think it is. It really, at heart level, would it benefit me from a health standpoint to be more active and have less weight? Well, all the statistics prove that's true, or at least they say they prove that's true, but I don't know for sure. And so I'm working with a premise that I don't know. So we get muddled because we're bombarded with all of these. Oh, let's face it, this time of year we're bombarded with fitness ads and all of that. And I don't want to get it a total focus here on weight loss and so on. But what I really want to talk about is the mindset, is the what is it that is keeping you stuck on this path, that is keeping you cycling and cycling. It's as if somebody has grabbed a hold of the back of your bike and was strong enough, you're pedaling as fast as you can forward, and it's as if you're anchored from the back and you can't get anywhere. Well, how in the world can we move toward more magnificence if we're pedaling furiously on a path that's not going to get us where we want to go? So it's time to stop that. It's time to get off the bike and say, wait a minute here, wait a minute. Let's think about this a little differently and look at the core of what's really going on here. So I know, for example, if I'm happy and engaged and enjoying my life, if I'm absorbed in something, a task or a project that captures my attention, I'm not too concerned about gorging myself from the refrigerator. I'm more absorbed in what's got my attention that I'm enjoying in this moment. So maybe it's more about enjoying our lives in an entirely different way. What is it that we use to distract ourselves from feeling bad about ourselves? What are the tools that are there, or maybe they've become weapons by now? Television can be wonderful entertainment, and it can also be a distraction if we know we're meant to move forward. If we're afraid to, sometimes I turn on the TV and binge watch something because I had work in the background that I meant to do and I don't feel like doing it. And I'm resisting moving in that direction. And so oh, well, no, I just want to watch this TV program. Well, self-sabotage, right? So I do it. I suspect you do it. And it doesn't make me feel really good about myself. But if I then switch my thinking and say, well, maybe I want to get to the heart of this matter. What is it that's stopping me from doing the work that's over here? Usually it's fear. Usually I feel less powerful in being able to accomplish that than I'd like to feel. So power is such a big deal when it comes to embracing our magnificence, because if we don't feel powerful enough, or we feel powerless, we don't feel we have a whole lot of power, then it's tricky to move forward. So some of the suggestions I have in relation to examining your thinking is all about tapping into and really magnifying the idea of the amount of power that you have, moving up the scale from powerless to powerful, saying, all right, how do I go from here to here? So some of it comes from letting go of these notions that we're not enough, that we need to focus on our deficiencies in order to make progress. I haven't seen anybody make a whole lot of progress focusing on what's wrong with them. All it does is seed the ground for more things that are wrong with them, and then it's a downward spiral into this victimhood and this shame and guilt that serves no useful purpose. So isn't it time to stop doing that? Isn't it time to say, wait a minute, if in fact I'm as magnificent as Sue says I am, and Sue says you are magnificent, if in fact I am that magnificent, then what's good about that? How do I show up as that? What are the key aspects and qualities of me that are part of that magnificence, so that I can help embrace that more and more and more? Well, maybe you have a talent for music. Maybe you have a talent in the kitchen. Maybe you have a talent with young children. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a good thing about you, and it's time that you start focusing more on that and building on that, not about what you're doubting or what you don't know about. There's lots of ways of finding out what you don't know about, and lots of people who are willing to tell you what you don't know about. So that's not an issue. What is at issue here is the importance of cycling into a new pattern of thinking that shows you over and over and over again what's good about you, where you can best use your talents, where you best want to use your time. All of those things, that desire you have to grow, to be more, to do more, it's all at your disposal. And it's all in here. It's not out there. Looking out there is not gonna help you find that too easily. But looking in here and say, okay, what's inside of me that is just begging to come out, that is begging to be born in a maybe at all, or in a new way, in a different way, in a more vibrant way. You know you can do this. You are magnificent enough to do this. So it's about cycling out of the fears and cycling into a new paradigm for you, a new shift. The question then becomes, what if I'm that magnificent? What could I do with that? What would I want to do with that? How would that enrich my life, help me move forward? How would that help me surround myself with people who are thinking the same way that I'm thinking? So ponder that, my magnificent ones, this week on Magnificence Monday. I'd love to hear what you think about that and what thoughts emerge for you. So you can certainly leave a comment. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more about magnificence, about heaven on earth. And if the concept of the Magnificence Lab intrigues you, go to magnificencelab.org. That's magnificencelab.org. And nose around on the site. Click the buttons, watch the video on there, the intro video, check out the podcast that Chris Angel, my co-host, and I have created. And if you feel moved, hit the apply button and submit an application. We'd love to have you join us there. Take good care, keep warm. It's -28 here, so it's cold. Bundle up and enjoy your day.